Podcast League now. Starring the Casablanca Kid. He turns good taste into bad. Movie hero. He has a stutter, but he's smooth like butter. And Pez, with the ability to Pez.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Podcast League Now. This is episode number 12. So today we will be talking about movies that deserve a sequel or a remake. So, and I'm your host. I am Jordan, the movie hero Anderson. I got my little sequel title down below. And then I'm joined by Austin Pez Howell. Chris couldn't make it today because usually with his schedule, he's able to appear on one thing a week. So he did Top 12 Frenzy this week. So we'll see him probably next week for something. But how's it going, Austin?
Good. Yeah, just a little clarification. You'll be talking the sequels. I'll be talking the remakes because Jacob Barber and I over on a podcast about movies, which you can find here on the Movie Hero Network. So check that out. We talked about that kind of a similar topic a few episodes back of that show. So if you want to hear what movies I think should get a sequel, you can go back and listen to that. So we need more views. So, I'm not going to tell you. You're just going to have to go back and watch. Yeah, this will be all what Jordan thinks, but I'll be talking instead about movies that I think could either benefit from a remake or I wouldn't mind a remake or some kind of new version of it, something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and if you want to hear some of my opinions on it, we once did a tier ranker on best movie remakes. So that's not really what we think, but we kind of talked about the remakes we do and we don't like. Maybe someday I'll do one talking about movies that I still think could be remade, but that might be a show for another time with me. But yeah, we usually just like to start off just kind of catching up a little bit. So how's it going with you, Austin? Anything new? Anything going on in your world?
Not much. All the stuff I was watching this week was to get ready for a show I'm going to do right after this. Speaking of a podcast about movies, later tonight with Jacob Barber, I'll be talking musicals, actually, even though I'm not a big fan of musicals. I'll be talking musicals. And so I've been watching a lot of musical movies this week. So all kinds of movie music has been most of my life this week. But yeah, it's been that and just doing shows on here, as you know, damn near every night. So it's just one of those things. Not much time for other stuff, man. It's like it's always prepping for something or watching something for this or doing whatever, man.
Yeah. So you're getting those musical songs stuck in your head, any of them? Like some of the...
Yeah, I mean, some of them are memorable, some of them not so memorable. I just watched Sing Street, and some of those were pretty memorable. So
that's a good one. I really like Sing Street.
But yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's just been a lot of music and not much else, man. I haven't been able to get to the movies. I was gonna go if I still didn't need to prep for some of the musical things. I would have gone and maybe seen a double Idris Elba feature of Beast and that Genie movie he's got out. I don't even remember the name of it. The one I've been bombarded with for ads on YouTube this week.
Yeah,
George
Beast,
Miller movie.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. And speaking of music, I'll give a little tease here. The next Patreon exclusive episode, we don't know when we're going to do it. We haven't nailed down an actual time. We're going to do best wrestling intro theme songs coming up soon. But when we finally nail down an actual time for it, we'll let you know. But yeah, we'll be doing that because if you go over to Patreon and you sign up at patreon.com/moviehero, we can play all those songs. You can actually hear them on, and you can have some copyrighted stuff over there. So yeah, because Patreon's not so strict with that kind of stuff. So
and we've been thinking about doing like all those like movie reaction channels. Do that too, where you can actually like either play them on screen or you can have the sound going or whatever. So maybe some like movie watch-alongs or something, maybe to tie in some things coming out or whatever, or something we want to watch.
Yeah. We'll be doing some of those too. Yeah, that'll be fun. So yeah. But yeah, not too much going on with me. My movie watches have been for on Sunday we're doing best movies of 2019. So I'm going back and watching a few from 2019. I watched Velvet Buzzsaw, and then I also watched Brightburn. So you can hear my thoughts on those if you tune into the episode. We'll be doing a bit of a series because I realized that before the pandemic, it's like so many more movies that released every year. So they kind of slowed down post pandemic, but or during the pandemic a lot. But so yeah, we're gonna split it up. We're gonna do a part 1 on a Sunday, part 2 Monday, and championship on Wednesday, and you'll see me on all 3. Maybe also might be on 2 out of 3, something like that. So yeah. So
we'll see how I'm feeling. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah. We'll see, but there's not too much else going on. I mean, I've been kind of thinking of all the last minute things I got to do. We got our trip coming up, so I ordered a couple of things. I needed a new pair of shoes. It's been about a year since I bought new shoes, so I just ordered some so I can have something decent to walk around in all the theme parks and all that stuff.
Well, shoes, and if we're gonna walk around a lot, I would also recommend some insoles because I put insoles in all my work shoes because I'm walking around all day at work, and I like a good gel insole on my shoes. I don't know if you do the same, but I highly
that's a good idea. I actually do have some just laying around that I haven't used, so maybe I'll grab them and use them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. But yeah, it's gonna be a good thing. We're what, like 25 days or something, not long. Like
even less than that.
He's got a countdown on his phone.
Yeah. The countdown. If you look at the very top, you can you can't really read it, but I'll tell you what it says because of the lighting. But it's and this is until I actually board my plane. It's 20 hours, 20 days, 21 hours and 16 minutes. So
literally under 3 weeks. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It'll be here before you know it. A couple of 2 or 3 weeks of tournament fights and a couple of shows and a couple of days of work, and it'll be here before you know it. Yeah, for sure. But I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a good time. We kind of got a lot of things mapped out, and still leaving some room in the evenings and things for us to do whatever we feel like doing, and a little bit of spare room. So, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah, we're trying to put
and there's still going to be content as you were saying, like on the network. So you got to tune in. That's why you need to have those bell notifications on for the channel, because you never know when we might go live, for on location from Universal or from Buc-ee's or something, or wherever we stop.
Some random southern restaurant we stopped at or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, just to get a quick reaction, a quick video, whatever. Jordan's gonna keep himself logged into the YouTube channel and just kind of we'll do some travel stuff, so definitely turn those notifications on so you can join us.
Yeah. The live stuff will be like pretty cool and fun and unique. May not be without, or maybe without some of the like normal bells and whistles, like an intro and effects and all that. Because we'll be just doing them on the fly, doing them live. But I am gonna be doing some pre-recorded stuff that I'm gonna put together that might show up maybe like 2 weeks after I get home, and that will have some of that stuff, some effects, music, all that kind of stuff. So
maybe we'll even do some on the fly lives while we're on the road. Just play some dumb movie games or something in the car. Entertain ourselves and just do some stuff, while we're driving. So you never know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
There's a lot of driving ahead of us, which I kind of like though, like because like I'm a big fan of like road trips and that kind of stuff. So like I like traveling, like that's my big passion, and so it's like I get to do a little bit of everything, because I'm going to be flying out to North Carolina, then we're going to drive down to Orlando. I've never seen any of that part of the country, so it'll be fun. I'll be just like a little kid, just kind of like taking it all in for the first time,
Yeah, Jordan's actually, I think at some point when we're heading back, we're going to stop in my old stomping grounds of Jacksonville for lunch, and he can go to the beach and see the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, right.
just go check out the ocean, because I used to live in Jacksonville, which is like 10 miles from the beach, so I know some good drop-in spots where you can go check it out, and nice. go check out the beach and just have a good time down in Florida. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, but for me, like just at home or my everyday life, it's been like the calm before the storm. So I'm really trying to actually just keep it low key before we do a bunch of stuff. I'm not trying to spend very much money or really do anything. I do have family coming into town for Labor Day weekend, so they'll be here, and I'll decide if we're going to end up filming anything on Labor Day itself, because we have been doing like top 12 frenzy on Mondays and stuff. That week we may push it to maybe like Wednesday or something like that. We'll see. We'll let you know. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah. So I guess we can kind of just jump into it. So
yeah, sure. You've got a list, and yeah, we've just been doing these random lists of 12 when they're applicable. But I know you have some honorable mentions you wanted to knock out too, because I've just got a list of 12. But if there's a few you just wanted to bang out real quick before we get into the actual list, that's cool.
Yeah, for anyone tuning in, you can let us know what sequels you'd like to see, what remakes or reboots you'd like to see, and let us know if you agree or disagree with any of our picks too. So yeah, because I got some pretty personal ones that are personal to me that like I'm not always sure everyone's really gonna agree with it. Like some of you guys might be like, nah, we don't need a sequel to that, but like I'd like to see it. So though, yes, this is my personal list. So. But yeah, so I was just gonna run down some of my honorable mentions. I know you said that you didn't really have any honorable mentions for yours, right?
Not really, because actually coming up with a list of remakes is harder because, like I was saying to you before we went live, it's either stuff you don't want to see a remake of, or it's like there's a lot of things where they've already remade something or done a new adaptation of it. So it's it's hard to do that. But yeah,
right.
Most of mine are just random ones I'd like to see.
Yeah, and you can kind of see why I used what I did for the thumbnail here. Like it's kind of like a sequel to a movie that a lot of people maybe thought we didn't really need, we didn't really want, but it happened like 30, almost 40 years later, and like it was really great. So it's like one we thought we didn't need, but it's one we're really glad we got. So yeah, it actually worked out really, really well. One of the best sequels I've seen in a long time. So yeah. But for some of my honorable mentions, I'll just rattle off 8 here that have even more than that. So I mean, maybe sometime I'll just post them somewhere, something like that. But one of the ones that I would really like to see, and this one could work either as a TV show, possibly, or as a sequel. But I'd like to see the original cast return, even though they're all grown up. Though is the Goonies. So like I grew up with the Goonies, so I think that one could be interesting. I also have I Am Legend on here, but that one though they have to change the ending because the ending doesn't really call for a sequel. I won't say it.
Well, and that's a movie that's actually a remake because that movie's been remade a couple of times. It's kind of based on the Last Man on Earth story, and it's it was done with Vincent Price way back in the day, and then I Am Legend was kind of a new thing. And it also was an update of there's a Charlton Heston movie called I Am Omega in the 70s that they're all kind of based on the same story.
Oh yeah, and then another one would be that could work as a TV series or a movie. I'm maybe leaning more towards a movie sequel, but it's the Sandlot and like have all the kids come back while they're all grown up.
You do know they did Sandlot 2 and 3 though. They were just
but we would just ignore those from the world.
Right. So yours would be like a what they call nowadays a legacy sequel that kind of ignores the other ones, and it's like those other ones didn't really happen. Kind of like the newest Halloween movies. It's like we're gonna ignore all those other movies and just do like this one. Straight from the other one. So yeah, because the sequel, the Sandlot 2 was like exactly the same movie, just with a girls team, and it was it's like all it was. And the third one, I think one of them had like Squints and the chick, like I think.
I think the third one might
something like that. But yeah, it wasn't a whole thing where they'd like brought the whole cast back or anything. But maybe we can finally find out what happened to Bertram, because remember Bertram got really into the 60s. And we never heard from him again.
We never heard from him again. Yeah.
What happened to him?
We finally heard from him, or like I think Benny, like in real life, spent some time in jail. I don't know if he still is in jail. I don't
know. And what's his name? Yeah, it's just like a jacked up, muscle bound douchebag now. So we'll see how that works out.
But one of my favorite music videos though, they bring the play Squints back, and he's in a music video with Eminem and Logic, and he's rapping all the Logic parts because he kind of looks like Logic if you look at him, and like he actually like like surprisingly, like he's really good at rapping. So yeah, it actually really works.
All right.
Yeah, but so now I have Mad Max Fury Road. I know they are doing a sequel or a prequel, something like that.
The Furiosa is a prequel because it's going to be Charlize Theron's character as played by Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah,
I understand. So,
but I'd like to see an actual sequel, though, like what happened after. So,
another. Well, yeah, I mean, most of the sequels, again, to Mad Max as well, have been just, it's that man with no name thing where you just drop the character into a new area and a new situation that some problem they has to solve, essentially. So you could keep that going with anything. I like what they teased in that movie, by the way. With remember how they teased the other places that were out there was like the Bullet Farm and like the Gas Town and things like that. The other places that made like we're exchanging water for gas, things like that. So, but we never really got to see much more of that world beyond like those little condensed locations.
Yeah, that'd be a good time, especially do it soon while we still have George Miller, so yeah. But and then I have I'd like to see a sequel to Spider-Man 3, the Tobey Maguire one, because there's been some hints that like maybe that they might do a Spider-Man 4 because of No Way Home. So I don't think it's gonna happen. I kind of lean towards it that's not gonna happen. But there's been some rumors floating around out there, so you never know.
Well, just let Sam Raimi do what he wants to do and let him have control of it, and I'd be down for it.
Yeah. Yep. And then I also have Dredd. Like we've been talking about a Dredd sequel.
I had that on my list when I did it with Jacob. Yeah, no, that's an easy one that I unfortunately think won't happen because the movie kind of bombed at the time and is not considered a valuable IP. But Dredd is ripe for a sequel. I mean, there's plenty you can do with Mega City 1, and there's tons of the comic books, like storylines in the comic books you could do. So there's been a rumored TV series for years now, just called Mega City 1. But yeah, it's just been kind of in development hell for a long time, unfortunately. But yeah, it's been 10 years literally since that movie came out. It's hard to believe. So I don't know, man. Maybe.
Yeah, right. Who knows? But and then I also wouldn't mind seeing another Pirates movie with Johnny Depp, just because of all the like Johnny Depp trial stuff and like I'm really on team Johnny Depp. I think Amber Heard's kind of a total bitch, and so and like Johnny would just I don't know somehow kept her around or like couldn't get rid of her or whatever happened, and so kind of drug his name through the mud and stuff too, and so I think there's a lot of room for him to make a big comeback, and I think that the best way for him to make a big a comeback is to have him in another Pirates movie. I think Disney should give him another shot. I know they've been talking about the Margot Robbie sequel, but maybe have them both in there. You never know. Like
you could do the Margot Robbie thing and then have him maybe pop in for a cameo right near the end of the movie and be like, and then lead into another one after that.
Lead into it. Yeah, that might be.
Like have it be like a surprise. Like maybe he films like a cameo and it's like I'm still around. And then him and Margot have like an adventure in the next movie or something. I don't know. You could do something like that. But I think what will actually happen is I think Johnny will do some low key, like smaller movies, because there's definitely like independent filmmakers and small filmmakers that would love to have Johnny Depp in their movie. You know what I'm saying? It's like a great actor and who will, and then we'll see, everybody will kind of come back around to it and then he'll get cast in some bigger stuff eventually, again. So I think that'll happen.
Yeah. Well, they kind of did that in one of the Pirates movie. I can't remember if it was like the third or the fourth one, something like that, where Captain Barbossa went away, and then that
was in the second one
back at the end. Yeah.
No, the second one at the end of Dead Man's Chest. Yeah, because we all thought he was dead. At the end of the first one, right? And then there's a whole thing where he comes down those steps or whatever, and you just see his feet, and then it pans up to him, and he's like biting to an apple, and he's like, "Now what's become of me, ship?" And it's just like a cliffhanger tease for at World's End. Like you could do something similar to that with Johnny and Jack Sparrow. I think that'd be pretty cool. I think the crowd would get.
You've already seen that stuff works. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, those are my honorable mentions. So yeah, we can kind of jump into our main list and talk about it a little more. So maybe I'll let you go first since I did all my honorable mentions. So
no, I mean I'll go first. Like I don't have these in a particular order, but like my top half, if that makes sense, are the ones I'd be most interested in, if that makes sense. Like I don't really have them in like an order, but the top half is a little more than the bottom half. So so at number 12, this is a movie that kind of became a franchise kind of unexpectedly, but it's been kind of a low key franchise, and that's the Universal Soldier films. And I think because you had the original one with Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren, and then you had like Universal Soldier: The Return, and then you had a bunch of direct-to-DVD sequels, and actually some of those direct-to-DVD sequels were pretty good. But I think it's a concept that could be rebooted, and I'd be okay with it because the actual premise is pretty cool of like this group of like almost super soldiers, that kind of are very robotic and like what they do, they're kind of mind altered, sort of like the Winter Soldier, in Captain America, where they're kind of brainwashed. They just do what they're told. And one guy kind of breaking out of that. Just think of like if it was like a Winter Soldier sort of concept, but just kind of done on its own without sort of the Captain America thing, and not necessarily like a super soldier, but like the peak of human, a potential, you know what I mean, with the Universal Soldiers. And it's just a cool concept. And again, Roland Emmerich did a pretty good job with it originally. I think it's a concept that if they rebooted it with a new, action hero or somebody, I'd be okay with it. You know what I mean? Like I'd be okay with them using that premise and kind of, toying with it a little bit and kind of just starting fresh with that series, because the series, like I said, has just been kind of one of those direct to DVD sequels. Van Damme came out for a couple of them, and it's like, and they're okay. But I think it could use a jump start, and I'd be okay with them doing another one. So like, and starting over.
Yeah.
So it's a good premise that I think could be exploited a little more.
Well, I never saw the original Universal Soldier, so I'd have to see that. But did Roland Emmerich direct the original one?
Yeah, he did the original in 1992.
Okay.
So yeah, this was before pre-Independence Day. Because his movie he did after that was Stargate, the Kurt Russell film, the sci-fi movie, and then Independence Day was kind of his big blow up. So nice. He did a lot of low key movies before then. He did an old sci-fi movie in '86 that I have on like a bootleg DVD called like. I forget what it's called. I have to look it up, but it's like a really bad little sci-fi movie. He's been doing sci-fi for a long time. I have to look it up, but I bought it at a convention on a bootleg because you can't really find it anywhere. So just to check it out. I'll look it up in a second. You go and get yours out, and I'll look it up.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna throw up in the chat. Brian had a sequel he'd like to see, a Goofy Movie 3, a Goofy Wedding. I mean, I'd be okay with it if they actually put it in theaters. Like I've noticed that like some of these streaming stores are kind of holding back some of their big movies that like really could go to theaters, but they're just relegating them to streaming, which I do kind of understand because you need some things to kind of draw people into your streaming services, but at the same time, certain movies I would really like to see in the theaters,
Well, I think either that or some people would be cool with like maybe a new Disney Plus series based on Goofy that maybe just continues that family's adventures. You know what I mean? Because if you're doing a voice acting thing animated, you can jump into any time frame, and it doesn't really matter with just the voice actors.
Yeah, right.
Like you could just jump in and it could just be the adventures of what's his name, Max or whatever, like
Max,
Goofy and Max, you know what I mean? Just doing their thing as like father and son and having different, adventures, like maybe even send them on like another road trip and have it be like a TV series. Like that'd be kind of cool. Like
And back in the day on the Disney Afternoon, they had Goof Troop. So I mean, they had Pete is like the next door neighbor. They had a son, JP. So I mean, you could add some of those.
Well, I mean, they're rebooting all this Chip and Dale Rescue Ranger stuff and DuckTales and all this stuff. Why not reboot Goof Troop or a Goofy thing, and it could still be part of the same legacy or whatever, but just do a new one. I think people would be down to see more stuff in that universe because that movie's pretty beloved.
Yeah, for sure. But for that, my number 12. I have What We Do in the Shadows. I want to see What We Do in the Moonlight. I want to see that.
I that was off my list too. And well, and apparently it's still in development. I think Taika even said recently, somebody asked him about him, and it's not going to be called that. Apparently it's going to be called We're Wolves, as in WE''RE. We are wolves. We're wolves. Okay. But I think What We Do in the Moonlight. I think What We Do in the Moonlight is a better title, just because it's a better spinoff of like What We Do in the Shadows, What We Do in the Moonlight. I think would be better.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. But yeah, I think we're long overdue for that spinoff / sequel, and what's cool about that is you could have the spinoff of them and still have them at some point, much like they do in the original movie, run into the vampires from What We Do in the Shadows again. Run into them on the street again, doing like a reversal of the other scene, where they run into them and maybe have a little scuffle on the streets, like they do. Only we just follow them back home, and see what happens to them in their days, like it could be so much fun. Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, because like you could have just showing what the werewolves do in their everyday life. Maybe they're doing totally different things. I don't know. Maybe they're like big into working out, or they're big into, I don't know. They just eat way more food. I don't know. They're just doing
maybe they do things that dogs do in their real life without thinking about it. Yeah, like maybe
thinking about it.
Yeah. They're just the way they interact with their group, or how they interact with the other groups of sort of monsters, like, because they kind of allude that there's vampires and witches and all kinds of stuff at that ball at the end of the movie, you know what I mean? So how they kind of interact with everybody, if they have their own clubs, do they have their own, hangouts, things like that for other werewolves, and what actually happens on those nights when there is a full moon, do they go on a rampage? Like, what happens? We don't really see it. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, that'd be my number 12. So what do you got next?
So I know this movie has a cult following, but I was never really super into it. And mine is the Stephen King, John Carpenter adaptation of Christine, the haunted car movie, which 1983. I just think the movie is a little wonky. I think the movie has some issues where there's like weird jumps in character development, where all of a sudden like the kid is like sort of with the car, and then like a scene later he's like just a psychopathic murderer. Like, it seems like there's missing beats. I just don't know if the full premise of that of this sort of car that possesses its owner or whatever was really done to its fullest potential, even with John Carpenter, which you'd think would be amazing. But the last 2 times I've watched it, there's something off about the movie, and I can't fully get into it. I just think that premise could be done again, and maybe with some fresh eyes, and really done really cool. So like, I maybe that's sacrilege, just to say remake Christine. But then again, we've had numerous attempts at or different versions of Stephen King adaptations. We've always had like one, and then somebody does it again later. So that's never really going to go out of style. But Christine hasn't been done yet, and I think I'd be interested to see a more modern take on Christine. So that'd be one of the ones.
Yeah, well, I think that for remakes, what usually works best is like those movies that maybe were like mediocre or even bad, and then they still have a lot of potential to be really great, and so that's why you want to see a remake. You don't really want to remake like some masterpiece. No one's remaking like Jaws or Jurassic Park or anything like that, So
and some of mine are good movies that I like, but it's like I could see the premise even with today's technology, them doing even more with it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like that, where I think there's more technology that actually could benefit at least an updated version. All over the original. So some of the mine in my later list kind of concern sort of that thing. So yeah.
Well, I've seen the original Christine, but it's been like a long time. I only saw it the one time. Like I think I caught it on like TV or something like that. So that's one I'll have to try to go back and revisit. But and then also Brian, he had another suggestion. He said a Sky High sequel or a TV series. I think a TV series would work great.
Well, yeah, I think I had that on my list with Jacob, and I advocated more for a TV series, because I think this thing would be ripe for a Disney Plus show, because you could literally do Sky High the series and just explore that high school. You know what I mean? And more of the students. You could explore more of that world. Is there a Sky High college? Is there a Sky High Sky University? Is there, are there other things within this world that people don't know about? More of the superheroes that are running around that town, because obviously superheroes exist in this world, in public, because the Commander and Jetstream were, known superheroes who fought, robots and stuff, as we see a little bit in the movie. But I mean, that's just a premise. This school, we don't get to see that much of it. So let's see a little bit more. I mean, you don't have to bring back all the original characters, but you can bring back some of the side characters. I said you could easily bring back Bruce Campbell as Coach Boomer, or bring back the guy with the big brain, like the professor, who like runs the science class. You could bring back Linda Carter as the principal, like she's still working. Like some of the side characters, even Dave Foley as the sidekick teacher would be fun. Give him some work. I love Dave Foley. And but you can have some of those side teacher characters and have new sets of students that we follow in sort of the Cobra Kai vein, like you continue, but you have some new students, but have some of the older characters as well. So I think it can really work. Yeah, I think it could really work, and I think a TV show is right for that. So I don't know why we don't explore this world more, because it's a new property. It's not connected to anything. You can just go crazy with it. And
right. Yep. So my next one that I have is one that, like, I don't know if as many people would think of doing a sequel to it because it kind of has like a loose kind of trilogy, but they're not really totally connected. So my number 11 is Shaun of the Dead. So I think they're like I wouldn't really like to see another adventure of like Shawn and Ed going around. Maybe they move to a new place and something similar happened. Maybe they have to face something besides zombies. There's like some other threat that like comes to them.
I believe Ed is dead at the end of that movie. He's a zombie at the end of that movie. But if he drags him around sort of Weekend at Bernie's style, that could be interesting. I don't know. Or
maybe he's like searching for a cure and he thinks there might be a way to cure his friend or something like that. Yeah, so I think that'd be interesting as a movie or maybe even a TV series. I mean, I think that could work as a TV series too. So
I just want to see, if Edgar decided to do a sequel to Hot Fuzz of more of the buddy adventures of Butterman and Chris Angel, or not Chris Angel, Sergeant Nicholas Angel. Just more of their buddy adventures. As cops. Maybe Danny comes back to London with Sergeant Angel, and he can't quite get the hang of being in a big city cop. That's I think that you can kind of do a role reversal, and that'd be a little fun.
Totally. So what's your next one?
So my next one is a 1966 movie that, again, some movies have dabbled in this premise, but I don't think it's ever been fully done. There's a movie called Fantastic Voyage from 1966, and it's about these guys getting shrunk down and going into a spy's body, and it's a premise that's been done in this. Inner Space dabbles in this a little bit. The Magic School Bus did like an episode, about like, people traveling through someone's body or whatever, but it's never really been done with like modern technology and CGI, and really explored like what you could do with the special effects of that, or really explored, that premise. Like it's all been very primitive stuff that we've seen in movies where it looks kind of bad. I can see, we've never really done a thing where somebody's exploring the inside of someone's body as like a shrunken person. We haven't really done that. And I think you could do that premise kind of cool, in an updated version with some better special effects and things. So something like a Fantastic Voyage or a newer version of Inner Space, I think would be kind of fun. We could really explore that premise.
Yeah, and I know that they brought back the Magic School Bus series as like a Netflix series, but it's still just a cartoon that was like, for me, I watched like an episode and like it didn't really hold up to the original for me, but I mean, as a live action though, I think it'd be really, really cool. So just something like you say, Fantastic Voyage, and like there's a lot of potential. And especially, I don't know, there's a lot of ways you could go with it. Like maybe they have some kind of like a virus or disease they're going in to fight it, or like who knows what it is.
Yeah, that's kind of the premise of that Osmosis Jones movie. But again, it's that weird, like it's like half animated and half live action with Bill Murray, where it's like about germs and like diseases and stuff. But I think you could do that more of like a live action thing. And I think you could have some cool stuff with somebody in like a ship, like fighting off like disease cells. I think that'd be kind of cool, something like that, and then seeing how the person reacts to it on the outside. I just think that premise has never been fully realized. Like I said, it's been dabbled in a couple of times. It never really had a lot of potential for that. So
I'd watch something like that for sure. Let's see, for my next one, I have a sequel to Solo: A Star Wars Story. I want to see the Lando Calrissian movie with Donald Glover, just because I thought that Donald Glover, he just played that one specific character so well. I mean, I wasn't really like a massive fan of the Solo movie. I thought it was fun. I did like it, but like I don't really think we need to bring back Han Solo necessarily. I mean, I'm sure you could easily have him cameo or be in there for a minute, but just focus on the Lando character and like all kinds of his like shenanigans and like trying to swindle people and just kind of being like this kind of rogue guy that's just in it for himself, that kind of thing. Like, because I think that Donald Glover, he had a lot of the mannerisms down and a lot of the same kind of look, and like he did it pretty well. So I think that'd be fun to see an adventure with him. So I'd be
maybe
down for
even
that.
if he swindled his way into the ownership of Cloud City.
Right. And also, like, I would even say do it as a Disney Plus series. You could do that. So like you don't even really need like a full movie. I mean, you could, but I mean, I'd be happy either way. But I know that they've talked about it. Like it's been something that's on the table for sure, and it may even still happen. Who knows? But like
it
I haven't really
might
heard
depend on how these spin-off series go because of something like Andor, like how Andor works, because that's kind of a spin-off of a character that, really, like, does he need his own series? I don't know, but if it's good, maybe I'll,
Yeah.
be
Looks
into it
good.
and see if it's good. But we'll have to see. Like, if that one ends up working, maybe they'll consider greenlighting the Lando thing. So yeah, we'll see.
I kind of think that like they kind of have a good thing going with like doing all like the like Star Wars story stuff. Do it on Disney Plus, and then just keep all the movies to like new stuff, like new adventures, new characters, new all of that stuff, and then just have like all the characters that you recognize or and love. Just put them all on Disney Plus, and you can go crazy on Disney Plus, So yeah, but
yeah.
But what's your next one?
So the next one again is a movie I enjoy and I like. I just think the premise could be explored a little more, and that's oddly enough another Van Damme thing, Time Cop. I think Time Cop could be explored a little bit more, and I'd be okay with them doing sort of a new version of Time Cop because there's some really cool concepts in there. Just the idea that maybe several organizations have time traveling devices, and you have to have this police force, kind of stopping them from changing history. I think that's a cool premise that they don't do a lot with it in that actual movie because it ends up just being like they're chasing this one guy who's just trying to get rich, and like there's not a whole lot like explored there. But I think if you could do a modern version of that, I'd be cool with it because and really really explore that premise of like these guys almost like a looper type thing, jumping around and stopping all these people from trying to change history, like they pick up a signature, somebody's trying to go into 1885 and like do something, like we got to get there quick to do anything, you know what I mean, and go arrest them and try not to be noticed and sort of a thing and do stuff under the guise of everybody else. So I just like that premise, and while I do enjoy the Van Damme movie from '94, I think you could do a lot with that premise, and I'd be cool with a new version of it. Yeah.
Well, that's one that could even work at the TV series if you.
They did do a TV series for a little while, by the way. A lot of people don't know that. There was a TV show for like one season, and it wasn't very good. But that would be one that I would like to see. Yeah, I could see like a HBO or somebody do it. That'd be kind of cool. Like an actual, like more of like one with a little bit of a budget or something, and get somebody cool in that role. Like I'd be down for it. So yeah, either that or a series I think would be pretty awesome. Like maybe each episode just deals with them chasing somebody in a different time period, and that's a great premise because you could have them chasing them all over the place, trying to change history, all kinds of different events. So
like almost kind of like a quantum leap or like something like that, but
like Sliders or something.
Or like Sliders, something like that.
Yeah.
So and I mean, I'd watch it either as a series or a movie. But did they ever have a sequel to the original Time Cop? I can't remember if they ever did.
I think there was a bad one with Jason Scott Lee. It was direct to video called The Berlin Decision.
Oh, really?
Jason Scott Lee, the guy who played Bruce Lee in that Dragon movie from like '93. And it's a straight to video thing. And it's not good. So it's not very good at all. But yeah, it actually has Thomas Ian Griffith, the guy who's on Cobra Kai right now. What's his name? The dude from the third one. The guy with the ponytail.
Terry Silver, is that?
The Terry Silver guy. Yeah, he was the bad guy in that terrible direct-to-video movie, the Time Cop movie. So yeah, it's not good. But yeah, I'm looking it up. Yeah, there was a TV series, 9 episodes in 1997, where it was kind of a very very short-lived. But yeah, I could see this getting an update or like a reboot, and I'd totally be for it. Because again, cool premise, not fully explored, enough. I want to see it explored more. So yeah.
That's my next one. I'd like to see a sequel to the movie Chronicle. So like I've been a champion of the movie Chronicle, and that movie, if you see the ending of it, like they totally leave the door wide open for a sequel. I mean the character played by Alex Russell, like I really liked him as an actor. He was really good in it, and he kind of goes off on his own adventure trying to figure out some things and like figure out what his next move's going to be and just follow his character, and then maybe he's going on some new adventures and maybe like a different part of the world and it just kind of see what happened. Maybe he runs into some other people that maybe got some powers somehow, or or something like that, or like he just on the run, something like that. But
or
there's
explore
a lot of potential there.
whether or not he wants to be a good guy or a bad guy with these powers, and maybe he's toying with that a little bit, having those moral conundrums. Because I mean, if you had those powers, would you completely be a good guy, or would you do some nonsense,
right
yeah, or would you kind of exploit some people? You never know. But,
and like especially with everything that he goes through during the first movie, it's like there's a lot that like might make him kind of think twice about staying good. Maybe he wants to be even more good to prevent that stuff. Maybe or maybe he's like having like a moral dilemma and like ends up being bad either way, So I'd be totally down for that. That one I'd say stick to a movie, but I think that it could work though.
No, I think and didn't that movie make money? Like I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, it made a lot of money.
Because I know it wasn't very expensive because it was in like 2012 and it was that found footage thing because there wasn't like a ton of special effects. Like there's a few things here and there. But yeah, like I'm looking it up right now. So it was a $12 million budget and worldwide made $126 million. So it made a healthy profit. You know what I mean? Even domestically, only making 64 million domestically, but 120 total. Like they say you got to do about double your budget, maybe double and a half. I mean, but it means it made 30 or 40 million dollars even domestically in profit and almost 100 in profit. So maybe it's just because of the weird Josh Trank thing. Maybe if Fantastic Four had been successful, maybe he would have been allowed to kind of do a little sequel to Chronicle, in between. But maybe it's just that whole fiasco just has prevented that, So I don't know. I'd like to see Josh Trank make a comeback with that sequel. If he made that sequel, I think it would be pretty well received, especially if he did it very similar to the original one.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's gotten someone to even write it already. Like, wouldn't be amazed if the script's already out there somewhere. So who knows?
Yeah, well, and I like a little aside about Chronicle. I love the way they explain some of the found footage stuff later, where he's controlling it with his mind. Like the camera in front of him.
Yeah,
where he raises it with his brain. He's having the camera follow him, but he's got the powers to do that. So like I kind of like that. That premise. Like once again,
so that way he can film himself when there's nobody else there. He can still have a camera floating around. So that's my number 9. So what do you have next?
Next I have so I know there's an animated movie coming out soon, but I really think there was so much potential in 1993 when they did a Super Mario Brothers movie that just didn't quite live up to what it was, because it was just kind of dark and just weird, and all these monsters, when it needed to be like you could have had this cool brighter movie about these guys going to this other world. And I know again there's that animated movie coming out with Chris Pratt, right, doing the voice and stuff. So I'd be interested to see how that goes. But if they ever decided to do another, live action premise of it, with all these other video game movies, I don't think people would object too hard to them trying Super Mario Brothers again. You know what I mean? Like that movie, the original one has a cult following, for being kind of a fun, bad movie, but I don't think anybody would be super offended if they tried it again, and tried to tweak it a little bit,
No, even now you could even have a cameo from, or just bring him back. John Leguizamo, he's still around, like do something with that, I mean, you never know, but yeah, like I'm a little like, I don't know, I'm a little like wait and see with the Mario animated movie, because I'm a diehard Nintendo guy. Like I grew up with it. Like I had all the games. I played every single one. There's a lot of potential you can do, because I mean they have like Mario, like you have the original, then you have them going underground, you have them going underwater. You have things like what's the one where he like goes into space and he's like going on all those planets and stuff. For some reason I'm having a brain fart.
Galaxy.
Oh yeah, Galaxy. Yeah. And then you have Mario Odyssey where he's actually in the city. So I mean, there's a lot of things you could do with it. So.
Well, yeah, and I'm the same as you. I'm waiting for like a trailer for that movie when it comes out to kind of see what angle they're going with. You know what I mean? How it looks, how it sounds. So we'll just kind of have to play in a wait and see game with that one. I'll wait for a trailer to come out.
Yeah, but even though they're gonna have Chris Pratt doing the voice of Mario, they are still getting Charles Martinet, who does the original voice of Mario, to kind of do some stuff too. So hopefully, it'll actually work. It won't be too far off, like a Detective Pikachu, where like you bring in I'm another brain fart. Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. like a brain fart day for me. But
I thought you were trying to think of somebody else besides Ryan Reynolds.
No. So Ryan Reynolds, they brought him in, and that kind of took me out of it because all I was thinking of just Ryan Reynolds' face the whole time. I wasn't really thinking of like actual Pikachu. So, but I still like that movie. I just like the voice kind of took me out of it. So we'll see.
All right.
Yeah. But let's see. For my next one, let's see. Oh, so I would like to see a sequel to Tron Legacy. So I mean, I'm a big fan of the Tron movies. I know that the Tron Legacy, like the story wasn't the greatest. Like they could have done the story way better, but like there's parts in the middle that just gets kind of boring. But I think that there's some really interesting characters in there. There's some really cool concepts, and then they're bringing I can't remember the name of the like main actor. I always forget, but what is this? But like he goes.
Jared Leto is going to do something with it. Like they're talking about a third one right now with like Jared Leto.
Yeah, I mean, like I've been kind of less impressed with Jared Leto lately, so we'll see. But then you have the main guy going out into the world with I'm forgetting her name now too. The Jason Sudeikis' wife. Olivia Wilde. So like they go into the real world. So now have them out in the real world, bringing some of the like elements from inside the computer out into the real world and see how that kind of plays out. Whether or not they just stay out for the whole entire movie, or they end up going back and forth. But there's a lot of things you could do.
I think you could have something to where the programs maybe are invading the real world a little bit, like do a better version of that Pixels thing, where maybe that stuff kind of creeping into the real world, and they have to kind of find a way to like shut it down or something. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm a big fan of Tron Legacy. I defend that movie a lot. I think the movie's a lot of fun. It looks great. I think it sounds great. Like the soundtrack is awesome. But like I just like looking. I think that first 45 minutes or so of that movie, pretty much up to and including like the light cycle sequence, is pretty great.
Yeah.
Like I love the first part of that
really
movie
cool.
a lot.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I dig it, man. I think it's fun. So yeah, I would like to see more of that world. I think it's just they're hesitant to do that because the movie, I don't think it was a flop. It just kind of like barely made its money back, so it wasn't really a big hit. Yeah. It wasn't the hit they thought it was going to be. But I like that movie a lot. I think I saw it twice in the theater. I saw it twice in IMAX. Like, it was great.
Same, yeah. And I think that like for the sequel that they're already talking about, they want to bring back Daft Punk, which is cool. Because like I'm not a huge Daft Punk fan, but for these movies, like they really work. Like
no, I can't tell you how many times I put that soundtrack on my Spotify. Like that soundtrack is awesome. It's great just to like listen to. It's really good. So yeah, no, I'm down for some more Tron Legacy. All right, so my next one again is a decent movie, but I think it's very, very dated and it could use with an update. And that's the old movie Flight of the Navigator. I think Flight of the Navigator could use an update because again, it's a pretty cool premise. This kid that kind of finds this alien ship and this sort of AI system and these robots and things within the ship and kind of off having these adventures, in the ship. And again, it's a good premise. The movie is it's very nostalgic. I don't have a super nostalgia for it. I know some people do, but I think you could use an update and be okay. I think you could do some better effects, with the ships and the robots and things, and really kind of explore that premise a little bit more because it's a cool premise. It's just you watch the movie and it feels like an old movie, and it's only 86, but it even feels like a 70s movie. Like it's pretty old.
Yeah.
It's one where I'd be okay with them trying something new with that. So Flight of the Navigator is one I wouldn't mind. Check it out.
Well, yeah, so I'm a huge fan of Flight of the Navigator. Like I kind of grew up with it and watch it all the time, and that's some like really fun scenes where he's just flying around San Francisco and he's playing like Beach Boys music and just kind of
you watch it though and it's like superimposed on the screen. It looks really, really bad. Like the only stuff that looks okay is they have some practical stuff inside the ship with like the actual robot arm and stuff and a couple of little puppet creatures like that are okay. But as far as like the rest of the stuff, it could really use a polish and an update. And I think you could reboot this one and get somebody cool. How they got Paul Rubens to do like the original voice. I can get somebody cool like that to do the voice of the AI or whatever. Like I just think it's a good premise again that I think could be explored a little more and rebooted a little bit, and I'd be okay with that. So
there's even a line that I quote with like some like family members or like friends. Like there's a scene where like he's like trying to change into something, and he's like, "Can I get a little privacy, please?" And the robot's like, do not know privacy. What is this privacy? I'll like tell that to people. I do not know privacy. But yeah, and I think that a remake would be great, but as long as they don't make it too kiddish though, because like there's like some movies that like have a lot of potential, but then they go too kid friendly and like not enough for the adults kind of thing.
Right.
Like they did that with that new Owen Wilson in the movie where he becomes a superhero.
The secret headquarters thing.
Yeah, like I liked it, but they just focused way too much on the kids, and it's almost like a movie for like preteens, kind of like not as much for the adults in there. So yeah, like you gotta make it like maybe mostly for like kids or teenagers. You gotta have something that when the parents take their kids to go see it, that they're gonna enjoy it too. You know. So yeah.
So
but
that's mine is Flight of the Navigator. So what do you got?
Yeah. That sounds good. So this is one that a lot of people probably aren't going to agree with me, but like, I really want to see it though. Like it's just one that like, but I want to see a sequel. I don't want to see a remake, but I know it's never going to happen because the director infamously says that he's never going to allow it. But I got to go with Back to the Future. I really want to see it. Like I really want to see a sequel.
Well.
There's so much potential of like different time periods they could go to, different things, different adventures, and like if you're able to do it now, you could still get Christopher Lloyd back, like he said he would do it, and you wouldn't be able to have really Michael J. Fox maybe other than like a little cameo because of the Parkinson's, but like you'd have to have someone else that he goes on the adventures with. But even like still, like I think that'd be a lot of fun. You bring back Alan Silvestri to do the score, all of that stuff. You know, I think it'd be great, but I mean,
I don't know. I think the third one kind of ended on like a perfect note, you know, with the train and then just being like, you know, going back to the future. Nope, I've already been there, you know, like and just seeing, you know, letting them go off and do their thing. I mean, what do you bring back, you know, Mary Steenburgen and his kids? I don't know. Like, it's
maybe have to, or like,
yeah,
like maybe something happens where like Doc has to go off on his own again, and so they're not really in it so much, you know, like he doesn't want to endanger them or whatever it is. So, but
I don't know. To me, it's like it's one of the few franchises that's still a trilogy that they haven't ruined with the fourth movie, and I just don't want to see that. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many that just kept going when they didn't need to. Like Indiana Jones had that perfect ending in Last Crusade with them literally like riding off into the sunset, and it was great. And then they like had to make a fourth movie. You know, to me, it's just like, you know, like I don't know. That's just my opinion. I mean, I know, but at this point, also like Christopher Lloyd's like 82 or something. Like, I don't think I want to see it anymore. Like he feels old in the movies he's in. You know what I mean? Like even 10 years.
I met him in person. He felt old even in person.
He felt old then, and like he's even older now. So I don't know about that, but that's just me. I mean, Or you can hope and dream, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. But
yeah, or like if they found some way to do like a similar type of a movie, but then again, everyone's just gonna say, "Well, this is just a Back to the Future ripoff kind of thing," you know. So like, who knows? But they would have done it at the time. I think that they would have had a lot of potential there.
Christopher Lloyd is 84 now, man.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a little tough. Like it's maybe one of those things that I would have liked to see, like maybe late 80s, early 90s, or something happened, but we're kind of like past all of that. So it's kind of like, man, like if he only would have done it back then. But it is what it is. Because Robert Zemeckis, he says it's never going to happen. So so he's dead. He won't allow it. So it is what it is. But yeah. But anyway, what's your next one?
My next one is I think there desperately needs to be a new version of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Because that's definitely a premise, and I would advocate for again like a HBO or a Netflix type series, you know, because there's so much, you know, so many characters and things in this world. But you know, obviously we had that 2003 movie with Sean Connery. It's not very good, you know, but you know, I think everybody agrees that the premise is really cool. You have all these really cool characters. You got Alan Quartermain, who's like a legendary sort of mythical, sort of like an Indiana Jones type adventurer hero. I mean, Captain Nemo. You've got like the Vampire Doctor. You've got Dorian Gray, Tom Sawyer, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You know, like there's so many like cool characters in this. of this team that you could definitely bring them together and just do, have them off having crazy adventures. It's got that steampunk vibe to it. And so it's sort of kind of timeless, and you can keep it in character with that. But yeah, I think this is a premise that really needs to be returned and explored with, and I'd totally be cool with them. I would advocate more for a TV show, because there's just so much characters and so much stuff you could do. I would want to see more of a TV show than try to cram. I think they tried to cram all that stuff into like a 2-hour movie and it just didn't work. But yeah, like really go after this premise, because there's a lot of people that are fans of like the comics and things, and would like to see it. So yeah, let's revisit stuff that like had good premises and potentials that just you could do with it. Let's do League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and really give it a good update with the TV series now.
Well, there's so many cool characters too that you could go. I mean, like you have a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde you can do stuff with. There's like Moriarty in there, Tom Sawyer. I mean, there's a lot of cool characters that
you can even add. There's other characters they didn't even do in that one, like that have been in the comics. Yeah, all these like mythical sort of literary characters. You could bring in all kinds of people. So no, I'm down. Like you can have a Frankenstein in there and all kinds of stuff. Like you can do whatever you want. I'm down for this, man. It needs that series and those characters need to be done justice in something. So I think they're just hesitant because some of these Universal things have not done well. That Dark Universe fiasco, didn't work out too well.
I know, yeah.
But yeah, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, man. Let's see a new version of it. It's been 20 years. Like, why not?
Yeah, I think if they would have done it right, I mean, they could have had like crossovers, from like the like MonsterVerse in there, and like you could have potentially maybe seen stuff and like the Universal parks like pertain to it. They would have done it right, So
that definitely could have been, if that movie had been good, could have been like a trilogy or something. Could have been a series of movies that would have been good. So, But I'm down for that.
Yeah. Well, for my next one, so I want to see a Wayne's World 3 happen. Just make it a trilogy. We already have 2 movies that are both great, but just make it a trilogy. I mean, I know that Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, they both talked about it. I've even seen Dana Carvey go on to show it as like a prank and be like, "We're making a Wayne's World 3." Psych, just kidding. We're actually not doing it. And like
we're making a Wayne's World 3. Not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like whenever they come back to host any of them or like making an appearance, everyone wants to see the Wayne's World characters. It's one of the most popular sketches I've ever done, and like there's a lot that they could do, especially with like modern music, like the way that it is now, and like having to navigate, I don't know, like streaming, like both on like TV and for music, both of those things, just like see if they've had any success or like if they're still kind of doing it from their basement still, or like what's going on. I just want to see some more adventures in there, and like they even do some parody stuff in those movies too. That's a lot of fun. I can bring back for some reason I always forget the real actress name. But bring back Cassandra too, like she's still around doing stuff, Just just bring back any of those. Like Tia Carrere, you can bring back her. Like I just saw her on Bobby Lee's podcast Tiger Belly, and like she's still even hot, like just doing her thing, So yeah, there's
I think there's something to be done with them dealing with like the fact that music isn't really physical anymore. Everything's just like downloaded and streaming and everything, and it's like maybe they try to bring back like, people buying physical stuff again, or them trying to deal with like this TikTok craze and all this stuff, trying to be relevant as just like a real, rock band or whatever. People get into like old rock music again or something. I don't know. Like there's something
like having them doing TikTok videos and like finding a way to maybe break out of it, and then like vinyl's getting popular again. Maybe they want to go back to vinyl, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
So yeah, and like look what they did with Bill and Ted. They brought back a third Bill and Ted, and that really worked. So I mean, it worked for me. I mean, maybe not for everyone, but
it worked for me too. I think that movie's entertaining.
Yeah. So yeah, let's make it a trilogy. You don't need to do any more. Just one more movie, and then call it good. So,
well, yeah. I mean, I think if they had the right script and had the right sort of parody elements and the right skewering of modern stuff, I mean, I could see it. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. As long as everybody, all the original folks are involved, I'd be down with it.
Yeah, for sure. But But what do you got next?
So next is another in the sort of the shrinking thing, because again we haven't had a lot of that stuff other than since Honey I Shrunk the Kids, or like Ant-Man played with it a little bit in that first sequence, where he shrinks down and he's got like
Yeah.
the bathtub stuff and things like that. But after that, it's just like him fighting in the battles or whatever. So
Yeah.
I'd like to see a new version actually, and it's another movie I like. But The Incredible Shrinking Man from 1957 is a really
Okay.
cool premise where it's a cool movie for what it is. But it's basically about this guy who gets into like an accident and he slowly starts to shrink, like it's just like an inch a day or something like that, to where he's eventually like he's like 4 feet tall and he's 3 feet tall and he's 2 feet tall and just keeps shrinking, to where he's like living in a dollhouse in the house, like a fake dollhouse. And like there's a famous scene in the movie where he has a battle with a tarantula while he's got like a sewing needle and stuff,
Oh yeah.
But it's a cool premise. Again, we haven't seen a whole lot of, and some of my favorite parts of Honey I Shrunk the Kids are seeing the things from that perspective and how different they look. Like the scene where they first get shrunk in the laboratory, up there, and like everything looks huge, and like the different perspective and the cracks in the ground, and the nails, and when they get in the backyard, like the grass and the flowers and all that stuff. Like, I don't think that premise really since then has really been explored about what things would just look like from that person's perspective. And with today's technology and the CGI and stuff, you could really do that and really dig into that and like make it like cool set designs and cool, effects, and like really have like bugs going after them, or like a house cat or, whatever, like, whatever premises, and really see that perspective and really dig into that idea. So again, I like the movie, but it's a 50s movie. It's dated, but in, I really want to see more of like the shrunken kind of stuff. Maybe this new Honey I Shrunk the series they're doing, we'll dig into that a little bit. But, but The Incredible Shrinking Man, again, is a good premise that I'd like to see kind of updated, and I wouldn't mind it. So yeah, that's a one for me.
Well, like maybe like the Honey I Shrunk the Kids might be a good test. Like if that's successful, then they'll want to do more things that are similar like that, So yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not 100% sure when that's happening. I haven't really like heard any like dates or anything, but I'm looking forward to that Honey I Shrunk the Kids series, especially if you're bringing back Rick Moranis. I'm a big Rick Moranis fan.
I miss Rick Moranis so much. Remember, he was on when we did Tournament Fights Battles. He was on my 16 favorite actors. I love Rick Moranis so much. Like, I love everything he does. And like, and now though, I mean, again, the reason he left was to take care of his kids, but like his kids are all grown up now. They're all adults. You know what I mean? And he said he's open to it for the right projects and things. And he still looks great. I mean, we saw him briefly in that Mint Mobile commercial he did with Ryan Reynolds, like where he just showed up. What am I supposed to talk about Mint Mobile? But he looked great. He looked almost exactly the same. And like I think everybody on the earth, when he got that freak weird thing where he got like attacked in New York City, if you remember that. But everybody, the entire internet, like nobody said a bad thing. Everybody was just like, "Oh my god, we love Rick Moranis. How dare you? That person should get the death penalty."
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, how dare you attack our sweetheart Rick Moranis? Because like everybody loves Rick Moranis. Like, who doesn't? And it's like, so everybody, was hoping he'd have a cameo in Afterlife. Maybe and they're considering the series. Maybe he'll show up in that if he gets the right part. I don't know, because I know they're doing another sequel. But yeah, I mean, we love Rick Moranis, man. I just want him to come back and be happy and do a couple more projects and
right.
And see him again, because I love the guy. So yeah, we all want him.
Well, yeah, that's just surprising to me that the thing that actually brought him back was another Honey I Shrunk the Kids. It wasn't Ghostbusters or anything like that,
or Spaceballs, or like something like that, or
whatever.
Yeah,
because like who knows if they do another Ghostbusters, we may still see him. I mean, there's still potential, So
they brought back damn near everybody else for that other one, and like I know people were like, "What about Rick Moranis?" But maybe it wasn't the right setting and stuff. But like if they teased at the end of that movie, like in that post-credit thing, that they're back in New York, you know what I mean? Like
back in New York.
Yeah, who's to say that he isn't still there being an accountant or an attorney or whatever? Because he was like a tax attorney in the second one. So who's to say he isn't still doing that? Maybe he hooks back up them to be like, they're part of their crew again, So, I mean, you could definitely do that.
It would be cool if they had just like Ernie Hudson with like a bigger role, and then he just brings in Rick Moranis to kind of help him and get back on his feet, get started, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'd be down for that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But let's see. So my next one. So next one's kind of a little bit of a sequel and like not really like a remake, more of like a crossover kind of thing, I guess you could say. But If I want to see the 23 Jump Street Men in Black crossover, let's go. It'd be awesome. Like I really want to see that
one that they tried to get going at one point and it just didn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that they're talking about it, and like everyone was all like hyped for it because they kind of brought it up. It's like almost kind of like a bit of a joke. They're like, well, one of the ideas that they threw out there is this 23 Jump Street Men in Black crossover, and like everyone kind of laughed. But then, like the more that we thought about it, you're like, you know what? That would actually be like really cool and really.
It couldn't have been worse than Men in Black International, Jordan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, having whoever is in the Men in Black. I mean, you could have still had like new Men in Black people. But yeah, recruiting those two characters into the Men in Black, you know what I mean, as like the new recruits, maybe they hear about their exploits and they like, want to recruit them for this, underground world and do the crossover because it really wouldn't interfere with anything. I mean, it's like it doesn't, mess up either of the brands, to do it. So yeah, I mean, I was down for it the more I thought about it. I was like, what, that's not a bad way to keep Men in Black going and spin it off a little bit. Why not?
Yeah, and you can even bring back either like Ice Cube or Nick Offerman or something like that. Be like, we're doing it again. We're sending you into this company now, and you got to try to infiltrate because we found out that there's some alien activity going on, and we want you to kind of infiltrate this organization, and then just one thing leads to another, and then you have a cool fun movie out of it, So yeah, right, I would totally be down for it. So. Yeah, let's go. Like you never know, and like never say never. I mean, anything's possible. So, but what's your next one?
So my next one is definitely one I would like to see explored with the original source material in a TV like anthology series. And what it is World War Z. So World War Z, the original book has nothing to do with the movie. They just completely just bought that name because it was a cool name and just did that movie. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with it. The book is an anthology book recounting all these different tales from around the world of the sort of zombie apocalypse from all these different pockets of countries and all these different people. There's a narrator, there's a guy, an author who's interviewing people about, because it's after the war is already over. And he's interviewing them, all these different people about what happened. And you could definitely turn that into an anthology series where you could have one guy be the same writer, narrator guy doing all these interviews, and then you dig into the actual story in each one. And there's cool stories within the book where like one's like a guy who was in like a Japanese village, like fighting him off with like a samurai sword. And there was one of that in the audiobook, Mark Hamill does his voice, and it's a story of the soldier as they were going across the country, wiping out all the zombies, like one by one, literally, like this wave of people like making their way across the country. There's a thing about there's a turning point in the battle against the zombies called the Battle of Yonkers. That's like a big battle, and you could depict that in one of the episodes. There's even an episode about the people that were stuck up at the International Space Station when everything went down and what happened to them. Because their communication got cut off and they were kind of stuck up in the station, on a satellite. So, but there's all these things that were going on, and you could tell the story of this war from all these different perspectives and really dig into the actual book, the actual source material. Instead of what they did with that movie where it was just Brad Pitt running around with zombies crawling all over. You know what I mean? It was just so bland. It was just generic. It was whatever,
Yeah.
and they literally just bought the title. Like it had nothing to do with anything. So them doing a World War Z proper anthology TV series, really digging into having an episode with each of those stories within the book would be really, really cool. And that's the only way you could really do it because it's too much to cram into one movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Well, I know with the original movie that they did like scrap the entire second half of the movie and they reshot the whole entire thing and changed it all, which I kind of like some of the things they actually added to it at the end when they have to go into some kind of lab and they have to go after these zombies and in the lab. Like it gave me vibes of like the kitchen scene from Jurassic Park almost, that like that kind of vibe almost. So I thought that was really cool, but yeah, like it doesn't have anything to do with the book. I mean, then that's fine for a movie, but yeah, like maybe do something that just follows the books a little closer, and I'd totally be down for it. Yeah.
I totally recommend the audiobook, by the way, of World War Z is awesome because Max Brooks, the guy who wrote the book, who really is Mel Brooks' son. I met him at a convention. The guy who wrote it, he plays the narrator in the audiobook, and he got all these like great actors to like be the voices of the people in the books. Like I said, Mark Hamill does one of them. Carl Reiner did one of them. Like it's got a really good cast of people if you look it up. I really recommend the audiobook. The audiobook's great. it's just these different stories like told about the different people who were involved in the war somehow. So it's pretty cool.
I'm always down for a good audiobook. Usually, like when I'm on an airplane is like one of the main times where I listen to audiobooks. So I got a flight coming up. Maybe I could
World War Z audiobook, baby. It's great. Yeah, I don't know if it's on Audible. Like it was kind of available and kind of not, but I think it is. So I think it's on there. But yeah, it's on Audible, so you can get it or any of the audiobook things or whatever. I think it's even on YouTube. Like you can download it. You have YouTube. You have YouTube Premium, right? So I mean, you can.
YouTube Premium, so I can download.
Yeah. But I'll check it out. So
because the last audiobook I listened to, I think, was the Tron trilogy, the Star Wars one, and that was really good because like in the audiobooks that like add music sometimes, they'll add sound effects, they'll add all kinds of things.
It's even on YouTube, and if you have premium, you can download videos, right? Yeah. So it's in 2 parts on there's like a 6-hour part and an 8-hour part. So I would recommend it. It's good stuff.
Nice. Yeah. I'll have to check it out for sure because I even like the movie and like even though like the book may not be quite like as like the movie, anything in that zombie world, just seeing what's going on all over the world, like I'd be down for that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. So my next one. So this is my number 4. So like this is one that might be more personal to me. This is kind of like a more personal one. I don't know if like too many other people would be interested. But I really want to see a Napoleon Dynamite too. Like I really want to see that. Like you see what all these characters are up to, like maybe like the college years, like he's going to college now and like having.
He might be a little too old for that. I think John Heater's like in his 40s now.
Well, he is now, but like or like even like he has a family and maybe he has like a weird son that kind of does some similar things. He goes to high school or like something like that, and like they actually had so like that's how I've mentioned that I have family who used to live in Preston, and I've been over to Jared Hess's house. I've met him before, and like for a little while, they actually were talking about a sequel. They actually had an entire sequel written, bringing back the whole entire cast, and for whatever reason, I think they just couldn't get a studio to really pick it up or really finance it. But they had the animated series that actually. It's pretty hilarious. They only released, I think, like 4 or 5 episodes, but you can find them, I think, on like Hulu. And the episodes are actually pretty funny, like just more kind of crazy adventures. So I know they already did it as an animated series, but like even bring back the animated series, like I'd be fine with that. Just do it on like streaming this time instead of like network TV, maybe something like that, or just find a way to do some kind of a movie with these characters. Like I just want to be like back in this world. Just bring back all the hype because like you remember all the hype where like people got hype for all this Napoleon Dynamite stuff, and like and maybe have a resurgence of that. Maybe the hype went on a little too long where people got a little annoyed with people saying vote for Pedro and all that stuff everywhere. But like I had fun with it. So yeah, like I'd be totally down for a sequel.
Yeah,
because I'm sure that they could easily get back most of the entire cast. I think all those guys are not really doing anything. So yeah.
No, I've got my Blu-ray is like this little booklet Blu-ray. It's kind of cool. It's like a full
nice
thing, and it looks
that's
like
cool.
It looks like a locker.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
It was like
so
anniversary Blu-ray or something. But yeah, but I mean, I like that movie, and I don't know about a sequel. We'll see. I mean, I don't know where they would go with it unless he was like teaching a class of weirdos like him or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know how they would do it exactly, but yeah.
Well, like maybe you could do something with like Kip and LaFonda. Like they got married in like the post-credit scene. Maybe they have some kids or something.
Yeah.
Or like maybe Napoleon ended up like marrying Deb or something like that. Like you never know. Like there's a lot of possibilities.
Maybe it's awkward because Kip and LaFonda had kids, but they're all like super black, like LaFonda. And it's always awkward, and he always has
he
to
doesn't know what to do.
Remind them that like he's their dad. Like remind people it gets really awkward. And people ask if he's the dad or not, or something like that.
Yeah.
There's some things you can do. Bring back Uncle Rico, see what he's up to.
Yeah, and then like I'm sure that would introduce like a couple new characters or. So yeah. But
right. Cool.
But what's your next one?
So my next one is another 80s movie from 84 that again it's a cool premise movie. It's very, very dated. The effects are pretty bad by today's standards because it's all stop motion stuff and superimposed things. It's a movie called The Last Starfighter. I don't know if you've ever seen it. But yeah, the premise is pretty sweet. Yeah, it's a really cool premise. It's a kid that he's obsessed with this video game, this arcade game called The Last Starfighter, and he's really good at it. He has like all the high scores, and it's a thing where you pilot a ship. It's kind of it was in those post Star Wars knockoff kind of movies, in the 80s.
Yeah.
A lot of like post sort of Star Wars ish movies in the 80s because Star Wars was popular. But the premise is that he's like the best at this game, and he finds out that there's actually a real war going on in space. That's like the people in the game, essentially. Like there's a race of aliens, and then like these sort of these space fighters, and they need him because he's the best at killing these guys. They need his help to like defeat them, essentially. So they pull him into the sort of the game world, sort of like a Tron, because it's also kind of a Tron knockoff. It's like a mix between Tron and Star Wars, but yeah, like they pull him into this world, and he has to kind of lead this. These fighters into this battle, because he knows all the strategies, he knows all the ways to beat them and everything. So it's a cool premise for a movie. But when you watch it, like the effects are really bad. Like the effects are really like TV quality effects. They're not good. So I would like to see an updated, like you could do a lot with Star Wars type, effects and things, and some really cool space battles, and really like hone in on this premise because it's a pretty cool one. So, I'd like to see an updated Last Starfighter. I think you could do something with that.
Yeah, it kind of gives me vibes of, what was that Harrison Ford kind of sci-fi movie they did with like
Ender's Game?
Ender's Game. It gives me that kind of vibe. Like I know they're different, but like is that kind of like vibe?
Similar, yeah, but the twist of Ender's Game is that he's doing these simulations and it's the actual real battles. He just doesn't know it,
Yeah,
that's kind of like the twist of the movies. He thinks it's all these like simulations, but he's actually killing all the people. And then
they're
actually bad, like they're actually the good guys. And he doesn't know he's killing them. But yeah, it's a cross between that and Tron and Star Wars. It's kind of but it's still a cool premise that I think you could do something with. So yeah, I'd like to see it. Starfighter. Yeah,
I know that's that is one that a lot of fans have been bringing up for years, but it never happened. So yeah. Let's see. So for my next one, so I want to see a sequel, and I know we kind of got it in a TV series. That the TV series was good for what it was, but I think they could do it better, even like in season 2 or in a movie. But I want to see more Mighty Ducks. Like I know they have Mighty Ducks Game Changers, and I understand that. But the thing is, though, that Emilio Estevez is like saying that like he doesn't want to come back. But that was the whole like pandemic thing, like because they're trying to make him get vaccinated, and they're putting too many regulations on him and all that stuff. That's kind of past now. So like maybe they'll still be able to get him back, but it's negotiate with them, bring back more of the cast. Because honestly, like I'll be real, that if they don't bring back Emilio Estevez or like Charlie or Goldberg or like some of the original guys, then I'm out. Like I'm not going to keep watching this thing, because like I only watch for those characters, because they kind of made it a little too kiddish in my mind, like a little too kid friendly. They kind of just have them doing kind of just kid things that they don't really give the kids very much of an edge. It's one thing that I really liked about the Mighty Ducks is like all the kids kind of have an edge to them. A lot of them grew up in like hard lives, and like they kind of, I don't know, they have a pretty good villain. And they kind of do it with like the new coach of the Mighty Ducks, but then they got these game changers, which or no, like what do they call it, like the Don't Bothers or
the Don't Bothers, which is still a weird name. I don't like.
It's a weird name. I think it's kind of stupid. But like,
they could have done something similar to that premise and called them like the Rejects or the Outsiders or something that rolls off the tongue a little better than the Don't Bothers. That's just a bad name.
Yeah,
I still don't like that name.
But and they brought back some of the original cast, maybe like 5 of them back for like a one episode kind of thing, which is kind of cool. But like it's kind of like they either need to just like give these kids more of an edge and more, I don't know, just like make them less kind of just like for like little kids, or if you're not going to do that, then you got to have the original cast. You got to have something like that to sustain it, or just do another movie if you're not going to do a season 2, So yeah. But I'm a huge Mighty Ducks fan, so like just like any way I can get me some more Mighty Ducks.
Apparently Josh Duhamel will be playing the new side coach.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And but to me, like it was interesting because they kind of teased the Charlie thing in that thing, like they almost like it was going to be a setup for the second season, and then Bombay had some sort of falling out, between the two of them, and then we were going to see them, potentially reunite, or there's strife there or something that they would kind of solve, which I thought was interesting and a nice little tease because they kind of drop his name here and there, and the rest of the Dutch are like, I don't know, Charlie is, like, and you could, obviously bring in more of the cameos, but and apparently I just was Googling Emilio Estevez, and he debunked the Vax thing. Like that wasn't the reason he left. He just said,
really?
He said it was just a creative difference. Like he didn't like where they were going to take the character in the second season. So it was just a creative dispute. So I don't know. Where they were going to go.
But they had some elements there, like bringing back some of the cast, and then they had some of the original music and that kind of thing. So like that was cool, but they just weren't really all the way there. Like you had like Cobra Kai going on. I was like, man, like they're doing Cobra Kai so well, and they're like kind of getting there with Game Changers, but then not really getting all the way there though. Kind of.
Yeah, I thought there was it definitely had these moments that I was really into. Like there were some moments where they really used that original music, where Bombay would like, give him a little tip and they do something and he'd be kind of like smiling off to the side. And that's sort of like some of the stuff that happens in the movies. And I like that. And then, some of those moments are really good. Yeah. To me, it was about half as good as Cobra Kai, it wasn't bad, like to where they were on the right track. And I definitely enjoyed the season for what it was, but it wasn't anywhere near. I think Cobra Kai has kind of set the standard for these updated legacy things, and the standard they've set it high, it's way up here right now, as far as like where the bar is with Cobra Kai and like doing an updated series or something, or what you can do with those premises. But, I was disappointed when I heard he's not coming back, and that means like we're not going to get that. And you know what I mean? Like it's just I don't really care anymore. Like I'm kind of done with like
there's still potential maybe to bring back Charlie. Like you never know. I don't know, but
why would you bring back Charlie and not bring back Gordon? It just doesn't make any sense because they're hand in hand. So I don't know. That's what they were teasing. If they're not doing that, I'm kind of disappointed. So we'll see.
Well, like if you're gonna do like these like movies and TV shows with about like a ragtag group of kids, you gotta at least have some kind of edge to them, or you gotta like have some good humor. You gotta have just like some like some good character building if you're gonna make it kind of character based. And like I just felt like maybe they weren't really doing that with a lot of these newer kids. That's kind of like they had the one kid who's supposed to be like the really good looking kid, and he didn't know how to skate, and then I'm just kind of like, it's kind of cheesy, and like some of the like the main kid wasn't even all that great. I don't know.
Well, and there was just a couple of lazy storylines where it was like, oh, he went back to kind of try out with the other team, but he didn't like it, so he left. But like all the kids, it's like one of those bad.
They're mad at him.
But it was one of those bad tropes where it was like if they would just let him give him 5 minutes to explain what happened, he would be like, no, like you don't understand. Like I was tempted to go back and it was bad, so I came back to you guys because I realized like that was bad. And like then the thing would be dropped, but they dragged it out for like 2 or 3 episodes, and I was like, that's just bad. That's bad writing. Like you don't need to drag that shit out for like 2 episodes. That's just bad. Like, and they were just mad at him. Like I hate that stuff in movies where again we talked about that on our tropes where it's like a misunderstanding that could have been solved with
they could have been solved like
dialogue.
Or like they had potential with like one episode where like his like stepdad comes in, but he kind of comes in out of nowhere and he just shows up, and then it's like he's going back with like the bad dad who I was like never really there for him, but he like kind of seems cool, so he wants to kind of pal around with them, but then just kind of goes nowhere. It doesn't do anything. I don't know.
I don't know. It was like a lot of just character types that I don't think they really dug into that much. It's just the stereotypical types. So
But so what's your number 3?
Or my number 2, actually. Yeah, I'm one ahead of you. So
you went first. Oh yeah, so you're number 2.
Yeah, my number 2 again. You know how much I love the 1988 version of The Blob. You know how much I love this movie, but like I still would like to see like a new 21st century version of The Blob. Like that's been teased for a long time. Like an even newer one. Like I think it's one that you can keep doing versions of, and I'd be cool with it because I love the 88 Blob. I love some of the practical stuff in that. But when the Blob gets really, really big, like near the end of the movie, it's like bad stop motion and superimposed stuff, because it's hard to do that practically because the stuff earlier in the movie where it's just like covering it's like human sized, and like sizes of rooms and stuff. It's really, really cool. And they do some great stuff. But like, I think that's really where you needed some like good CGI, because I want to see a blob that's like the size of a building, like just consuming like everything, you know what I mean? And just people like running for their lives, and really see like, like a a house sized blob, you know what I mean? Like for real, like just causing all kinds of chaos and destruction. I think there's something you could do with that. And you could even do a straight up sequel to the 88 movie, because they tease a sequel at the end of that movie where the crazy reverend guy in that movie still has a little piece of the blob, like in this mason jar he's carrying around.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And that like when the time is right and God gives me the signal, I'm going to release it as the plague on the world to bring about the end times or whatever, like he's like a crazy man, but he's got a little piece of it that can always become bigger, because all you need is like a little bit of it, so you could do like a straight up connected sequel if you wanted to. But I'm just saying, I think with modern effects, you could really do the blob premise correctly. You know what I mean? Like really go big with it, and go big with the blob. So that's something now that I think we have the technology to do that we didn't have back then. So I know at one point Rob Zombie was teased to do one back in like 2011 or something. And then it's been floated around for like a long time, but nobody's ever latched onto it. Like I would like to see like a Mike Flanagan or somebody, like one of these great horror directors, like really jump on it, like that'd be cool. So, and cause I think you could explore the premise of the blob, even more. Like I'd be down.
We'll find someone who knows how to do really good creature effects, and like maybe don't over CGI it. Like do some practical stuff with it.
Well, you could do some practical stuff again, like that old movie does when it's small. But then when it gets big, you have to go CGI, which I'm fine with. You know what I mean? Because obviously it's hard to do a practical like house-sized blob. But like when it gets that big, I want to see some carnage. With like a building-sized blob just like rolling over things and grabbing people. And all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? Like swallowing big rigs. Or whatever. Just the whole thing. Like I'd love to see stuff like that. That'd be a lot of fun. So
for sure. I'd be up for that. Yeah. And also too, like doing a lot of these remakes too, kind of turns people onto the original ones. So maybe make them want to go back and check them out.
Yeah, I mean, because again, if you could do a straight up sequel, the way they tease that one and bring it back, like I'm down. Yeah. So have one that's connected. You could bring back Kevin Dillon and Johnny Smith. They're still around.
Sure.
I mean, they're not the biggest stars in the world, but you can bring in some other stars to kind of pad out the cast.
Yeah.
And see what happens. So.
The
blob, man. We need another version of the blob. I'm down. So
let's see. So my next one that I want to see is I want to see a Step Brothers 2. So like Step Brothers, one of my all time favorite comedies. Just bring back Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. Like there's so many possibilities that you could go with. You could have them living in an apartment together or like a house together. Maybe they actually found success with prestige worldwide and they made it big. Maybe they didn't, and they're like back to living with their parents because they thought they were going to make it big, and so you're just doing more like what the original did, or maybe one of them has a family. Maybe John C. Reilly and like what's her name hooked up, and like they actually have a family now.
Or maybe they hooked up, but like Will Ferrell didn't, so it's awkward now because they keep trying to hang out, but he's like a family man now, so like he doesn't have time for that anymore, and he's just like stuck being like this single dude in his 50s with like no kids, like trying to like do silly shit, but like John C. Reilly or somebody's like maturing a little bit now that he has a family now. He doesn't want to do karate in the garage anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like they he doesn't have time. For that, he doesn't have time for that because he's like a family man now, and he's still acting like a dope. Like it's or he's just living like some dumb bachelor life, and he has to kind of get his stuff back together again. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something if they got the right script. Again, I don't want to see Holmes and Watson. Like I want to see like Step Brothers. Like these two guys together. Doing good work.
Yeah, and like, you got to make it kind of like, R-rated. You gotta have all the same jokes. Well, like similar, like in like tone, the jokes and the humor. Like maybe have Adam Scott in there, like still around. Like maybe he hasn't matured like he's still like annoying them, pissing them off, or whatever, just stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, maybe John C. Reilly took his wife, and now he's still pissed off and trying to sabotage their business or something, and trying to just be like a pain in the ass.
Yeah. So yeah, Step Brothers 2. That's my number 2. So yeah, I'm totally down for it.
So my top one, and again, this movie is in my 128. I love this movie to pieces. I just think there's so much you can do with the general premise, in an updated form, and that's The Running Man. I think The Running Man could definitely do an update of The Running Man, and I don't think it would hurt the original anymore, because the one, I love the original premise. I love all the wrestling elements, all that stuff, but it's this dated thing of like, we're the number one television show in the world, which doesn't really mean a lot now. You can be the number one TV show in the world with like 10 million viewers when it used to be like 100 million viewers. It's like you could do a premise where maybe it's not the number one TV show, maybe it's the number one show that people stream on their phones and people watch live, people watch as it happens, and it has more of a social media thing, and maybe people who are watching can like interact with the person running, like launch traps on them or something, or like interact.
Going viral. It's the next viral sensation. Or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like this guy's on the run, and the stalkers are just amongst everybody in the cities or whatever, or you could track their progress, or there's a way you could do that premise now and kind of update the technology associated with it, and really dig into that and still have it be like this big over the top national sensation thing, still like brutal stuff. Maybe they just, when the stalkers kill them, they just do it right in the middle of an intersection. You know what I mean? Like they just don't care.
Yeah.
It's like part of the show, or whatever. It's just brutal, or they just do whatever. So yeah, as much as I love The Running Man, I think there's still things there to explore, concepts that they could run with this whole, sort of dystopian society, and how brutal the entertainment has gotten, because we're definitely, getting there. So I'm down for that.
Well, in the original Running Man, did they just take Arnold and like he doesn't have a choice? He like has to do it, right?
Well, yeah. So I mean, they frame him at the beginning of the movie as the Butcher Bakersfield. Like the whole thing is he's with this like squad of guys, and they order them to like fire from a helicopter onto these like rioters, but they're not really rioting. They're just like trying to get food because like nobody has any food or like money or anything, and he doesn't want to do it because he's like, I don't want to shoot people, like I don't want to just shoot random people. But they frame him for it, and they edit this thing like he did do it. So like they frame it that he like killed all these people, and then they tell him and then he breaks out of jail, and they capture him, and then they tell him like he doesn't want to go on the show, like even though they have him captured like at the place or whatever, but they're like, hey, if you don't go, like we're gonna put your little buddies from prison like on the show instead of you, but then they put him on anyways. So like they just but yeah, they basically like take him, and put him onto the show like against his will, essentially. Yeah, because everybody that's on there is like a prisoner, like a convict. So but yeah, it's like one of those things. They take convicts and they promise them that they will win their freedom if they win, but they don't actually win. They just kill them.
Okay. You have to remember how the original premise went.
Yeah, essentially like that. So, but yeah, there's so much you could do with that premise, and do it even more that I'd be down. I don't think it would hurt the original movie, because the original movie is very 80s Arnold macho, whatever. It's like you could do other things with it and have a guy maybe that's tough, but isn't like Arnold. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's a little more.
You could potentially even have Arnold like do some kind of cameo if you wanted to. I mean, yeah, he could be in there in some kind of way. I mean, he doesn't have to be, but he could.
Yeah. But it's like Arnold in that movie, just when he's in there in the situations against the stalkers, like he's bigger than them, so you don't really feel any danger for him. It's like he's gonna win because he's Arnold. I think you can do that, like have a guy that has a gruffness to him or a little toughness, but maybe he's not this giant muscle bound, machine. You know what I mean? Like who is gonna win. Maybe he struggles a little bit, but he's tough. Like you can have a guy that's tough, but maybe he's not as big. So I'm down.
Yeah. Well, yeah, cool. Well, for my number one, like the number one sequel that I want to see, I didn't think about it right away when I was composing my list. I was just going through a movie. I finally came across. I'm like, oh yeah, like this is one I've been wanting to see forever. But I want to see Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Money. Like I think that would be so freaking cool, and especially with Rick Moranis coming back. I mean, he can still play Dark Helmet. I mean, come on, and we don't have John Candy, but I feel like maybe you could have someone else just like in the role. You can bring back Bill Pullman. I mean, you can bring back a lot of people, or you can just recast like some of the like younger roles and that kind of thing too. But
well, I mean, maybe again you can have Dark Helmet, but you don't have to necessarily bring back Bill Pullman and Daphne Zanika, because maybe they got married and went off and they lived happily ever after, and maybe he's just going after, and there's a new, group of people he's like messing with or something, like you could have that and just have Redis come back or some of those guys, like like you could have new heroes.
Yeah, and there's new Star Wars movies out, so you could spoof some new characters, just come up with like some new characters. But the thing is, though, you got to have it written well, like the way that the original was written, and you got to do the characters right, not like a lot of these horrible spoof movies that you have nowadays. I mean, because Mel Brooks, I mean, he came back with the history of the world, so like I'm kind of interested to see what like how the part 2 is gonna be. So like maybe if that works,
well,
that could be a launching pad.
Well, maybe, but there is one problem. Mel Brooks is 96 years old.
Yeah.
He's almost 100. So I mean,
does he have any family or any associates, someone that can still have the same mind as him to write it?
I'm sure that if he wrote the script and maybe didn't necessarily direct it, it's not to say somebody else couldn't direct it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
not to say somebody else couldn't take over if he wrote the basic story or had the things. He just probably wouldn't be able to be in the movie either. So yeah, I mean that sucks, but I don't know. I kind of feel like, as much as I'd like to see it, I think the time for Spaceballs 2 is kind of past. I feel like if we were gonna get it, we probably should have gotten it like 15 years ago, like maybe when the prequels were coming out or something. But I don't know.
Well, but History of the World, I mean, that came out even before Spaceballs, so I mean, you never know.
I know, but I know they keep doing this, that he wants to make these other movies, but I mean, I don't know, maybe he's still capable, but he's 96, but I don't know, like how many people live to 100 or more,
I know, right.
And are still, fully capable. So I don't know.
Yeah, you would have to have him just maybe either like write it or to be a consultant of like some.
No, he could write it and produce it if he was still around, but I think you would need a younger director that could actually handle like everything. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like you could get a director that he recommends somebody, or get a really good comedy director or something to jump into.
Yeah, we just need a way to just bring back spoof movies where they're actually funny and they're actually done right. Where like you got to have like them like the jokes all around. Like all the straight men just playing it straight, so like they're just playing it straight, and then you have all the jokes surrounding them. Maybe like you can have one or two kind of goofy characters that are kind of bringing more of the goofball stuff, but you got to have that straight man. I think that's where a lot of these spoof movies kind of went off the rails. They just had everyone just doing wacky stuff, and they weren't really doing like spoofing things. They're just kind of just being like, remember this from this movie? Okay, now I'm doing this, now I'm doing that kind of thing, and it just was like really stupid and like done bad. So like they just got to go back to like what made those movies so good, like because like I wouldn't mind like a good kind of spoof movie resurgent. I would love that. So yeah,
well, you just got to learn to appreciate Airplane, Jordan.
well I like Airplane. Like it's like one of those movies that like grows on me more and more. I mean I just kind of, it's kind of a little dated for me, but I mean it's still funny. But yeah, that's my number one. So if we could ever get something like that going, I mean, I would love to see it. So
we'll have to see. I think time is critical in that one, but we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah. And then like I'll just throw out like I'll just list them here. I had a couple other ones that like went into like the like over my 8 honorable mention, but like they're just ones that like are just kind of goofball for fun. You never know. I mean, I don't know if they would work or anything, but like a few ones that I had on here. I had Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Do Willy Wonka and the Great Glass Elevator. I think that could work because the book's really good. Finally do a National Treasure 3, like with actually.
I think they're seriously talking about it now because they're going to do that TV show, and I think they're actually, now that Nick Cage has had like this resurgence lately, like people are into Nick Cage again. I think it's time for it. Let's get in. I've been wanting the National Treasures. I love the first two. So I thought for the longest time they were going to have one, and it was going to be called International Treasure. Like that was what it would be called, like just for like a different
that'd be cool
or whatever. But I'm down.
Mm-hmm. Or I have Beetlejuice on there. Like you could still do another Beetlejuice because I mean, just because Michael Keaton's older, you just have a bunch of makeup on him, and you could still do it.
Well, I've said for years he's in his 70s, but the character he's playing is dead.
Yeah, he's dead. Yeah.
So who cares if he looks like a dead old man? Like that's his character, and he's still got a ton of energy.
Character.
I mean, you look at the Spider-Man stuff; he's still got tons of energy. Like he could definitely do it. Like I think he wants to do it. I think it's just been delayed for a long time. Like they've just never been able to do it. But I think him and Tim Burton actually want to do it before he gets too old. But yeah, the character, he would look exactly the same under all the dead makeup. Like who cares?
Oh yeah. Look at like a Samuel Jackson. He's in his 70s. He's still playing these kind of like action characters, like he's still doing it. So.
Well, look at the new Hocus Pocus movie that's coming out. They're all witches, so who cares if they're a little older? Like you just their youth spell is wearing off, or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, who knows?
But yeah, I also had like a sequel to Monsters Inc. because we got a prequel, we didn't get a sequel. So like I'd be up for a sequel to that one. So I wouldn't mind seeing an Ace Ventura 3. I don't know if anyone else really wants to see it. I wouldn't mind seeing it because just seeing how he is in the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, Jim Carrey, like it's kind of getting back to this kind of like old goofball stuff, but at the same time, I kind of think maybe Jim Carrey might be on the verge of like retiring. He's
teased that he wants to retire, like so he might do like Sonic 3 and then he might retire. I don't know. Like,
he might just fulfill the contract.
I think he's contracted to do 2 movies, so he might do the third one contractually, and then he might do one more like drama movie or something, because he's been on that. But like then he's kind of teased that he's like kind of done. He wants to retire. We'll see.
Yeah, but I wouldn't mind seeing another movie in the Happy Death Day series and make it a trilogy because the first 2 are actually pretty good. So just find a way to just do a third and make it a trilogy. I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel to Who Framed Roger Rabbit because look at Chip and Dale. Like that actually.
I mentioned that in me and Jacob's podcast, and the way I pitched it, and he was like, "Well, how would you do it?" And I go, "Well, you pitch it like this. It's still a world where animation and people live together, right? So just update it to where maybe Roger Rabbit has become obsolete because he's 2D, and now there's all these CGI animated like Pixar type people around. So he's become obsolete in this world where and you could have like Woody and Buzz be like characters in the movie. You could have these actors of like these CGI characters. These sort of Pixar or CGI, Kung Fu Panda and Shrek. And all these Despicable Me characters like exist as like the cameos instead of Roger Rabbit. But he's dealing with the fact that he's out of work because everything's in computers now, and he's not computer. He's hand drawn, and you could really like explore sort of that sort of premise of him dealing with the newest technology because he doesn't age; he's still around. But the technology is changing. The world is changing the way people see animation, and maybe it's like. But the only problem with Roger Rabbit 2 is contracts these days. I'm like, there's no way you get these crossovers because they would just fight over who gets the money and just like it would be a nightmare because the way that movie happened was like a whole bunch of lightnings in a bottle, just like all this stuff lining up, and like everybody had to have the exact same screen time, and it was a whole like thing that really it's only because Steven Spielberg had the power that he had to kind of like put that thing together and make those deals that like I don't think it would ever happen now with all the different weird contract disputes and lawyers and all kinds of rights issues. So like it's just a weird thing.
Somehow Chip and Dale worked. I don't know how they were able to pull some of those off.
I think all those properties were stuff they kind of owned or had something to do with. I think. Yeah, I think it was just one of those things. So I don't know. Just because they were cameos, like if you actually had a movie where you had actual characters from other properties, it would be a little more difficult. So if
you did another one, you would have to like have mostly like characters that they own because I don't think you're gonna see Bugs Bunny and all those Daffy Duck running around and stuff.
Well, so it would just be I think Disney actually owns Roger Rabbit because it was Touchstone, so it would have to be all like Disney Pixar type stuff, for the most part. But you wouldn't get other crossovers that they did back then.
But then just a couple more. So there's been rumors that they're gonna make a sequel to Parasite. So I wouldn't mind seeing what happened after that story. So I mean, I don't know how they're really going to do it. I think there's a lot of directions that they could go, but I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel to that. So just like after their lives are like basically destroyed, what happens then if they're able to put the pieces back together or not? I don't know. But and then I wouldn't mind seeing like if there's any Adam Sandler movie that I'd like to see sequel to would be Happy Gilmore. Just like seeing him back doing some stuff, to go back to that world. I wouldn't mind another Happy Gilmore. They also have Constantine on there. Like they're
I've talked about
room
that.
For Constantine.
There's always room for Constantine, especially now with them doing all this, alternate. With the, 2005 was a little, hard to get a comic book movie out there and be successful, but there's a lot of successful ones now. And even though again, his version of Constantine is not, totally comic accurate as far as him being like a Brit, and all this stuff. Like I think enough people love Keanu now that him just coming back as that character.
We're having a resurgence of Keanu.
Yeah, so. He's a resurgence of Keanu. Like, why not bring back his one comic book movie he did, and have him palling around as Constantine again? Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah,
because I love that.
So movie. But those are just some other some honorable I mentioned that I also had on my list. I figured I'd throw them out there for fun. So yeah, but I think that'll do it though. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. I know that Brian still in the comments throwing out some other ones that he was talking about School of Rock too. I mean, maybe you have to have new kids, but I mean, you could maybe do it, but or like he's a big Looney Tunes back in action fan. I don't know about that one, but maybe. but
maybe. I mean, I don't know after the the brouhaha over Space Jam 2. I don't know if we'll get another Looney Tunes movie. We'll see.
They did not.
I'm just kind of mixed on that.
They did not do it right. Like, I mean, but the Looney Tunes, like if they focus more on the Looney Tunes, because I thought that was the best part of the movie was all the Looney Tunes stuff. So so you never know, but yeah, that'll do it for us. So I don't know if you have anything that you want to plug or that you want to talk about.
Not really. I mean, literally coming up in about 45 minutes, me and Jacob Barber are going to do a little podcast about movies. So just stick around for that.
Tune in for that.
Tune in for that in just a little bit. So if you want some more content from me tonight,
don't change that channel. All right.
Don't touch that dial. Yeah, YouTube dial, because we'll be going live pretty soon. We'll be talking musicals. So I one that I'm not big on, but I picked some musicals I've been wanting to see, and a few a few music movies that I wanted to promote. And Jacob did the same. So we've each got a list of 7 that we're going to be talking about and crossed over. And I watched most of his movies, and I've seen all of mine. So we'll be getting musical and doing some songs and dances over on a podcast about movies here pretty soon tonight. So yeah, check it out.
Nice. Yeah. And
or if you're watching this on the replay, go back go back to the channel on Movie Hero Network. Just pull up Movie Hero Network, and we will have already recorded it by then. So go check it out. Right. It'll be up there as well. So
you can follow us on all the social medias at Movie Hero 2121 on Twitter and Instagram, or in the Showdown Friends and Family group over there. There's a poll that's currently up. That's all about the show that we did for my top 128 championship. I'm choosing not to vote because I just want to see what the community decides as my favorite movie out of the Elite 8. So you can go over there and you can check that out. You can vote for a new favorite movie for me, because the one that actually won, I think, was Hot Fuzz, right? So
Hot Fuzz one is Jordan's new. Have you watched it yet, Jordan? You were supposed to.
No, I haven't watched it yet. So like maybe later tonight.
Just put that on in the background and you're gonna watch it.
Or
again.
Tomorrow, because I actually have a pretty open weekend because this next week's gonna be super packed. I think I'm filming like 5 or 6 times next week, something like that. So I'll be
speaking of I was going to say, one other thing I'll plug. Speaking of Jacob Barber, we were talking about we might log on to the channel at some point next week and just do, how we've been trying to do movie reviews and stuff. That me and Jacob might do a double Amazon Prime review next week and review some new Prime movies, because this weekend that Samaritan, the Stallone superhero movie, comes out this weekend. I think it's actually dropping tonight. But yeah, we're gonna watch that, and then there's that new Ron Howard movie, 13 Lives, about the soccer team and the people trying to rescue him.
Oh yeah, that one looks good too.
So yeah, with Viggo Mortensen and Colin Farrell and all that. So we might do a movie review, just a double feature movie review things at some point next week. So
I didn't know that 13 Lives was already dropping that.
No, I think it's already dropped. I didn't even realize that. He reminded me. I was like, can we do like a double or something? He's like, why don't we do a double Prime thing? That Ron Howard movie's dropping. Yeah. We're gonna check that out. So yeah.
And also, don't forget, speaking of Amazon, got the Rings of Power coming out too. So that's one that I'm like really, really hyped on. So like I've even like thought about like maybe doing some like reviews of it.
You should do short content. You should do or somebody like Malcolm or somebody. You guys should do like short episode reviews after the episodes.
Yeah, because the Lord of the Rings is one of my all time favorite properties. So I've been like following all the trailers and all that stuff. I might even bring in my brother Cade, because like he's a diehard Lord of the Rings fan, so like he might be one that might be able to come talk some Lord of the Rings with me, because he's going to be on for our best movies of 2019 championship. That's just the only day he was available, so he's going to join us for that one too. So
I think then they say they're dropping the first 2 episodes, like the first 2 will be dropping, then it'll be one after that, so you'll have like 2 hours of stuff basically. So you should find a Lord of the Rings fan, because I'm not a huge one, but I'll probably watch it, but like I'm not really that guy. But like you should definitely find somebody, because you talking about we want to do some quicker content, some stuff that's not multiple hours.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, me and Jacob were floating doing that, and like if you want to review like that Lord of the Rings show, that a lot of people would be interested in that. So you should
and
for sure.
And we'll see how it stacks up against, like, it'll kind of be the like battle between that and the House of Dragons, which one people kind of lean to more. I'm more of a Lord of the Rings guy. Like I tried watching Game of Thrones and it just wasn't for me. I watched the whole entire first season. I just was bored, so I couldn't stick with it. But
but that's
just for me. But
when that drops,
I know a lot of people love it though.
Yeah, you should definitely watch it and review it. Yeah, definitely.
For
sure.
But and then also we're doing a big week of movies from 2019, because I totally forgot how many movies all these studios kind of churned out before the pandemic. Like it's like double what we're getting now. Like there's just so many movies out. So like I was going through all the movies and I was like, man, if we just stick to 64, we're leaving a lot of good movies on the table. So I just decided, because I'm willing to do it. So like anyone who wants to like be on with these episodes with me, that's totally fine. I don't expect anyone to do it as many times as I'm gonna do it. But eventually, at some point down the road, I mean, it's gonna be way down the road, I'd like to do like daily content. But that's when I can get monetized and like quit my day job to have enough time to do it. But we're gonna be doing on a Sunday, and all the episodes are gonna be at 6 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m.
Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Sorry, 9 p.m. Yeah. So 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, and we're gonna have part 1. It'll be the first half. So I already put all the movies into a randomizer. So I already have the first half that I started watching a couple from that first half of it, and we're gonna do part 1 on Sunday. We're gonna do part 2 Monday. Then we have Austin's Top 128 championship on Tuesday.
No, part 2, just part 2. We haven't had the championship yet.
Oh yeah. Sorry,
not quite. But we're doing the other half, and then we'll get to the championship either next month or after, something like that.
It'll be part 2. Sorry, and then we're gonna have a championship for the 2019 though. We're gonna have it on Wednesday, because I don't want to drag it out too long, like all these yearly things. I just want to just like do them all just like in one week and get it over with. So we'll be coming up with a championship by Wednesday. So we'll have 4 episodes of tournament fights this week. So you'll have plenty to tune into. So there'll be
so there probably won't be like a top 12. There probably won't be like a top 12 frenzy this week. We'll probably take a week off from that.
We'll take a break from top 12 frenzy. We'll do it sometime the week after, which we'll.
And then I believe Lonely Marks next week will be doing it Friday night because I'm doing a weird work thing on Thursday night, but also because we're going to be doing our prediction shows for AEW All Out and the Clash of the Castle, the WWE pay-per-view from England. So sometimes we like to do those on Friday because they drop last minute things, or if somebody gets hurt, they have to they have to like switch things up. So we'll be doing that. So you can look for the Lonely Marks on Friday. I believe it's a Thursday this upcoming week. So if you're a fan of that, you can check that out.
Yeah, so content every single night this week except Thursday night will be the only time.
And who knows, if me and Jacob decide to do that movie review, you might have content on Thursday. We might.
Yeah, you can do it then. Yeah, Like totally, yeah.
I don't know. Like I've got a weird schedule, but if we do it in the afternoon or something, or we'll drop it some other late night or something, we'll figure it out. We'll do something one of the days. Just one of the days, one of the times when we're just not recording anything, we'll just jump on and just do it. So that's why you always want to have the bell on when we go live, and then you can tune in. So yeah,
if have the bell on, and follow us on our social media because we'll always post about it there. So so yeah, and then I'm gonna try to do, if I can, another Snack Hero tomorrow. Actually found another ice cream flavor that I want to review. That's the same company that like Van Leeuwen that like does the mac and cheese and pizza ice cream, all of that. They have a coffee flavored one that's like French. The name is like Cafe de Lotte or Cafe Latte.
I have expected you to be like, I got a new one, and it's like teriyaki chicken.
yeah, right. Yeah, like spaghetti and meatballs. Or like,
something stupid.
Yeah, like some off the wall.
Pork fried rice ice cream. All right, here you go. Something dumb from that company.
Well, like growing up Mormon, like we're famously known for not drinking coffee, but I will have some coffee ice cream or like a coffee candy from time to time. And then I do like the smell of coffee. I think coffee smells great. So, but I don't really drink it. So it'll be kind of interesting, like coming from that perspective. So yeah, I'll try that out tomorrow. Got another energy drink. I got a bunch of like weird ones that I'm probably not gonna like. All the ones that I have, got about 5 that I know are not going to be good. So we're gonna have some bad ones in a row, but it's fine. And then I got a few other, like some more Pop-Tarts, a few more snack cakes. I think I got those goldfish crackers, the Old Bay ones. So like that'll be a surprise. It'll be a toss up. So yeah.
All right.
But yeah, that's what you can look forward to. So there'll be a lot of content. So like maybe like from like Saturday all the way to Wednesday, maybe something Thursday, and then Friday. So we'll have content like damn near every night of this week. So yeah.
Well, and we filmed myself and Henry Confidential filmed the Battleground exhibition match that's actually going to be dropping pretty quickly, like next week.
Oh yeah.
So you can look out for that over on the TMG Entertainment channel. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. We're just doing a very special, cool, unique exhibition. So just look out for that.
I think I've heard some things. I won't say what it is, but
I'll tell you off. I'll tell you off air, but not on the air. I'll leave that as surprise.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, sounds good. But yeah, that'll do it. So for Austin Pez Howell, I've been Jordan, the movie hero Anderson, and we'll see you next time.